bottom. Here comes Gisette. They make contact. They touch once, twice, 3 times.
Oh, trouble! Oh, no, Rocky into the wall. Big crash front straightaway. Huge crash coming into the tri-oval. No, Rocky up and into the air.
They're beating and banging. Burn on the bottom. Cosman up top.
Kaufman, I think. No! Briar by 1/1000th of a second. Joseph, no! At the line, Thunhorse pulls the win out at the stripe.
Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here?
Here comes the canvas. Get your foot in. He got it. He's got it. He's got it.
Canvas is going to win.
FTF.GG welcomes you to the Finger Lake region of New York. We're at Watkins Glen International for tonight's broadcast of Speed Visions at the Glen. Just 2 races to go in the regular season, and, well, it should be a good one here from Watkins Glen, a doubleheader weekend, this being the second race. We were at Richmond last night, and no race next week. That's why we're doing the double this week. Jacob Hitt, Sean Butler here with you for the call as the field is rolling, Sean. So why don't we go ahead and go through the starting grid. Brian Mercurio will start on pole position. Alex Kolonix will start in second. Logan Helton and Blake Reynolds will be third and fourth. Brandon Hawken, Matt Danson make up row number 3. Kyler Wynn and Nate Stewart in row 4. Now, Kyler Wynn did not grid. He's going to start from pit road, as will a couple of others. Michael Rosero, Kevin King rounding out the top 10, and Kevin King's actually in the right car tonight.
He is. Wasn't in the right one last night, so glad they got that fixed. Wyatt Tinsley will roll off 11th, Seth Knoll in 12th, Michael Cozy Jr. a little bit further back than he'd like in 13th, Matthew Zwack 14th, Michael P. Frisch, of course, is not even here for some reason. He's in 15th. Kevin McAdams, off a strong showing last night, will roll off 16th, Jonathan Oates 17th, Nick Miller 18th, Caden Rush 19th. It says pace car in the actual grid, but that's not correct. Tyler Gary will roll off 20th, and Landon Mills will roll off 21st here. Now we got to adjust the starting grid a little bit.
Yeah, something's way off with the grid because Landon Mills is 22nd, not
Well,
20.
that's because Jake Poulin is the pace car driver.
Yeah, because you're skipping Poulin. All right, so
right.
We'll just run down through the rest of the grid because they're already on the back straightaway. Cars starting on pit road: Tyler Gary, Michael P. Frisch. I already mentioned Kyler Wynn, Matt Spalding. He qualified 30th. He's going to do so. So is Josh Stoltz. Chandler Parsons looks like he is going to do the same. No, never mind. Because I don't think those guys pointed their way in because I'm showing 46 cars on the racetrack right now.
Frisch isn't on the track. Stoltz, Parsons, Roberts, Newell, Connolly, and Hawkins are all not on the track right now.
Well, and some of those guys just flat out did not make the race and will not race tonight. Specifically, I would think Hawkins, Connolly, Clapper, Newell, and Roberts. We'll have to check on the others. Meanwhile, we're set to go. Glad you're watching. 76 laps up on the board. Green flag. We're racing from Watkins Glen. Trouble. There goes the 005. Spencer Ray's going to join him. Rabideau's around at the other end of the chicane. That's Matt Kemp. That was the first car sideways. You got 3 individual incidents, so we stay green. It's got to be 2 cars or more in order to bring out a caution battle for third as Kolonix overshoots turn number 6. Here comes Hawken. He'll go by. There goes the 00 Blake Reynolds. Matt Danson goes by as well, and now Rosero's going to try the outside.
We got a lot of battles happening on that first lap, as you guys saw it 3 wide for like 3 rows deep in the S's. As the first battle you see back here behind our leader Brian Mercurio as they make their way into 1 is Michael Rosero and Alex Kolonix. right now as they head off at 2. It looks like Kolonix is going to get the spot. Rosero is going to concede, but man, that was a lot of cars shouldn't have fit in the amount of space that this track provides in that first lap, but I'm surprised we didn't have more wrecks after that first one.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't just pile them on up going down into that chicane, but they hold on for now. Good little battle. Here comes Nate Stewart. Michael Cozy Jr. is going to pull out a line. He's going to try and follow him past Michael Rosero. They'll go side by side through the chicane, and Rosero kind of missed it there on entry. There's trouble into the wall. The 27, Caden Rush. Single car spin. He's just going to sit there and have to wait for everybody. And now McCandless gets turned off Kyler Wynn. Hope there's not any beef there. I know they've gotten into it in Moon Car before, but McCandless gets it rolling, and now Rush will do the same. He's in no rush to start moving.
Wow, excellent job there, Jacob. It looks like both of those guys, with the new Watkins Glen now that iRacing has, the rumble strips there are like tables. You know, they're like little tiny, I guess you can call them like speed bumps or whatever those are. Speed tables, I guess, is the name for them. But if you hit the rear of your car on that, the rear end just glides on it, and you get really loose off. And it looks like that was the scenario for both of those guys. So that's a tough break here to have on lap 2 of this race. But there you see Brian Mercurio pulling away a little bit further back. Here we got a little battle. Seth Knoll, Wyatt Tinsley, Kevin King just passed these guys. This is all for 11. So
Spencer Ray's around again.
Spencer Ray
won.
More trouble here for Spencer. So that's 2 spins now for Spencer. He had a rough go over to Richmond last night, and luck just continues to not be on his side for this one.
He got involved in a stack up going down into turn number 1, had to turn left to avoid the guys breaking in front of him and put it into the wall.
Slow car Caden Rush right there. You see that green car as they work their way down into the final couple of corners here. He's still nursing the damage from his crash earlier.
Yeah, he does have a meatball, so he's probably broken a toe link on that car. He's going a whopping 25 mile an hour. And now he's going to go into the grass here to try and get out of the way of these guys. In fact, I think he's not accelerating at all. I wonder if...
he's just coasting right now.
Well, no, I think he may have hand grenaded that thing. Oh, no, maybe not. I'm not sure what he did.
Let's see.
Let's replay.
Watch that green car right there. Highlighter green goes into the chicane.
Yep, so there's Rabideau, and then you'll see the 127 come in at the bottom of your screen.
There it is.
Oh, no, that's lap 1. That's what that is. That was lap 1 with Rabideau.
That was the prior wreck, so...
Yep.
This is all them going into the corner. Rabideau gets turned.
Yep, and then Kemp goes around at the other end of the chicane. And then another car follows him. There's Kemp, and then there's Spencer Ray.
So again, look at going through you see the cars, just how loose they get as there's finally the Caden Rush incident. He got the worst end of everybody. Everyone just spun, but he had some contact with a tire barrier, and he is not going to make it out of the final corner.
That's what happened to Spencer Ray.
Yeah, there was Spencer.
Caden Rush is stopped up against the outside wall. This is another replay. Kyler Wynn way wide. Oh, barely keeps it out of the tires.
He rejoined now live. Nick Miller and Cole Freilich. Yeah, he and Nick Miller are going at it right now. Oh, and Freilich gives him a bumper through the S's.
Well, so Freilich got the wall coming out of 7. And I think that's what kind of started all of that. And then they made contact going down into turn number 1, kind of beating doors. And Freilich then returned the favor and then passed him back. Oh, man, look out. Isaac Johnson right there as well.
Are we live on iRacing, Zach?
This is live up toward the top 10 or so, wherever Chris went 17th. That is not live. That is not. Now we're live.
There we go.
How we doing?
It's okay. iRacing is great to us sometimes, but I think everything is kind of calmed down for the most part. Not any side-by-side battles happening, so maybe we're just going to be in the calming down part of the race, at least what I would say.
Caden Rush did make it to pit road on his own. You did not have to tow. Just kind of waiting for the field to go by and then limped it down to his box to get worked on. Stages for tonight, end of lap 20, end of lap 40. We will get a stage caution only at the end of the first stage unless we get a yellow at any point in stage number 1. Michael Rosero just hit the wall trying to get into the chicane hard. He just turned in too early and clobbered the end of the guardrail. He's still keeping it up to speed. He lost a little bit of time from Cozy, who's in front of him. He also has a furled black flag, which means it's a slowdown. So he's got to give time up because it thinks he cut the corner because he turned in a little too early. But I mean, he clobbered the end of the Armco.
I mean, that thing will sneak up on you very quickly. So surprised that car's not damaged more than it should be. But that slowdown is going to let Jonathan Oates and Kevin King catch up to them. So all of this, we're going to have a huge battle for ninth there. Oates, King, Tinsley, Seth Knoll. There goes Rosero serving the slowdown. And he's going to lose 3 spots there as Tinsley will sneak by on the outside.
Yeah, the slowdown finally gave up once he got to the start-finish line. He did not get a black flag for cutting the corner, so he finally gave enough time up. The only problem is he lost 3 spots in the process, and I know some drivers have some frustration with how you have to give up time in the sim, just that, you know, the slowdown takes way too much compared to what you may have actually gained. Because, I mean, if anything, Rosero gave up time by turning into the wall. He still lost 3 spots because iRacing forced him to slow down even more.
Yeah, that just added insult to injury, I guess, for that one. So tough break for Michael. Fortunate for him, though, it's early, so he's got plenty of time to make up any time. So speaking of a Michael update, Michael P. Frisch is on the racetrack. We noted that he wasn't even in the server during the pace laps. He's sitting back there in that white-purple bar visuals, number 58. He is currently in 40th. Right now, he is listed at, he's only 1 lap down, so he will be able to get it back, hopefully with the lucky dog when this, if and when a caution comes out. But Frisch does this to himself every week.
It's Tyler Lannon around. That's coming out of the chicane, headed to turn 5, and he just got a little there too hot.
This is another instance of the.
That's a live picture. He's being joined on pit road by Dustin Dawes. You only get 50% fuel capacity in these cars. I think it's a little too early to be pitting, though, right?
Maybe run the race backwards. Who knows? Because that's usually what you have to do for these. And when we say running the race backwards, it means, you know, I guess just predicting or starting the race as if it was the final lap, and then you just kind of calculate the fuel strategy towards the beginning of the race. So you just got to go by how many laps you have to go until you're good on fuel. So that's what these guys are doing, I think. And up at the front, these guys are starting to close in on each other. Mercurio is still out there in the front. Logan Helton, Brandon Hawken, and Matt Danson right now, the top 4. Then you got to go back a little ways to Blake Reynolds running the 00 this week. So not in his familiar 66. So a couple little packs up here separated at the front.
And of course, Brandon Hawken cracked at the road courses. Only has 1 road course win this season. So when we were at Road America, picking up his first win on the season, trying to pick up road course win number 2 tonight, on board with Collinix back there in P6, right behind Blake Reynolds, who is, he's in the 00, kind of a 3-person trade or shift, if you will. Isaac Johnson moves into the 66. Blake Reynolds moves into the 00. And then the 33, which I believe is normally Isaac Johnson's number, that's where Jake Poulin went as the pace car.
To Brandon Hawken did. Oh! Now we see there, we see just how violent those rumble strips can be. Those are significantly higher than the actual asphalt is for the racetrack. So you got to be careful when you're using those. But did we ever figure out why Brandon Hawken was not in the race last night?
I don't believe we did, but I'm sure we'll find out post-race.
I was very curious about that. Yeah. Spencer Ray is yelling at something.
I figured that meant that he crashed, but he is still running. So, I see Brett Pancari was in front of him, and he went way out there in the chicane or in the carousel to let Spencer Ray by. That's what that was about. It really nothing all that interesting. Well, shift our attention now. How about the battle for the 10th spot? Kevin King has it. Wyatt Tinsley wants it. You've also got Jonathan Oates right in front. Oates had a good run last night going at Richmond, and Another decent run so far here from Watkins Glen as that 29 gets right on the back bumper of the 073. The 7th.
King got a great run through the chicane there, so that's going to set him up potentially to use the draft to get the pass done on this, I guess, backstretch, so to speak, backstretch 2, as they work their way down into the corner. Now he's got Wyatt Tinsley all over him, so we'll see what Tinsley does to see if he makes a potential move here. Everyone keeps it orderly, but they're slowly catching Michael Cozy Jr. ahead of them, so this could be a 4-car race for 8th in the coming laps.
Halfway through stage 1, 10 laps are complete. And Brian Mercurio and Logan Helton, the gap is down to just 0.2 of a second. So ready or not, up at the front of the field, things are bunching up quite a bit.
Helton was about 0.2 of a second faster last lap than Mercurio, and Brandon Hawkins is right there with him. He was faster than the leader as well, so these guys are getting set to have a nice little battle for the lead. Matt Danson lurking in the background there as we look further back into the field still at Kevin King, right as they make their way into the chicane. A little 4-car battle here. Oates has put a little distance on King. I thought King would be further up towards the front in this. I guess he's had a little bit of an issue in qualifying, and he's got himself further back than he wants, but expect Kevin to be up there at some point. We always know he's competitive in pretty much every race. But a little bit further back there, Michael Rosero looks like he's trying to set up a move on Wyatt Tinsley.
Well, remember, Kevin King, won the race last night, and when we talked to him in Victory Lane, he said, yeah, I'm not running Watkins Glen. I'm going to give my seat over to Graham Bollins. That way he makes the race and get him some practice for the Coke Series, which is coming up on Tuesday here. Well, Graham is sick, so he's not racing tonight. Kevin King got back in the 29, and he'll get passed by Wyatt Tinsley, as you saw there in the background. Landon Mills coming to pit road. And now there goes Michael Rosero side by side with King through the S's.
And Graham would have been a nice sub to have in that car. If you guys remember last season, Graham, in probably one of the most impressive Coke Series wins that it's on record, held off Mitchell DeYoung and Bobby Zelensky to win that race. Two of the most prolific road racers on the stock car side of things in iRacing, as Rosero gets very loose through the chicane there. But Graham would have been a fantastic sub for that car, but unfortunately Graham is not feeling well. So Graham, we wish you get better very soon. You know, being sick is not ideal, so hopefully you get better soon. But right now, King's still wheeling that car, sitting solidly in 11th.
Trying to hold off Michael Rosero behind him. And you got Frisch behind him as well. He's just a lap down. The battle for the lead has accordioned a little bit. Helton was as much as 0.4 back a lap ago, but now he's right in the tire tracks of your leader, Brian Mercurio.
And Helton having a very good run so far to start this race. He's been very quiet the last couple of weeks in FTF, but he has put together some good runs, been up front pretty much every race. As Hawkins is kind of closing in a little bit, this might have a move set up for him going into the chicane. Hawkins decides against it, and Matt Danson has officially joined this battle now as they work their way out of the chicane, but looks like Danson got a little loose out of there, so he's going to have to catch back up. But these guys being very orderly so far as they work their way out of the carousel.
Danson had a really good run going last night, got involved in a couple of incidents late, but still made himself back up into the top 10.
And here comes Dorman.
Yeah. This is
Robert Dorman has arrived on the scene for the lead as Hawkins.
Little lockup.
Oh boy.
Now hopefully Dorman doesn't get scared by a car in front of him and wipe somebody out like last night.
Oh boy, this is going to get tricky. Dorman gets out of the way in turn 1.
You make it.
All right. Everything okay, Zach? Okay. Zach has been very upset this whole day. He's been talking to us, just yelling at us constantly. Zach is just very angry right now. We don't know why. Being the tyrant that he is. Zach chuckles a little bit. Be funny if we had a broadcast where we can actually hear him once.
Well, things happen.
Still up front here, Logan Helton all over the back of Brian Mercurio. Hasn't even made contact with that car yet, as we got Hawkins coming down pit road. So strategy coming into effect here as he'll come down pit road to get some fuel and tires, presumably. And we'll see if that might open the door for the rest of the leaders to come in.
And Kevin King on pit road as well. Jonathan Oates is spun, trying to get to pit road. He's unhappy.
So he got in the,
I think.
Okay. Yeah, you see that.
Yeah.
We got a replay here in a second.
Yeah, it was a stack up with Kevin King and Michael Rosero.
So.
And, well, that's not it.
iRacing strikes again. This is the
That's why
this thing getting
Tinsley
passed.
bombing. Here we go.
All right, so Kevin King is pitting right here. I didn't hear him announce it. And Oates just ran into the back of him, and Rosero ran into the back of Oates. So I don't think Kevin King communicated he was pitting. I could be wrong. But especially at a place like Watkins Glen, you need to let people know you're pitting, because the pit entrance is pretty much in the racing groove off of the final corner.
It's almost like Austria, where the racing line is,
Here we go.
Is pit road entry. Here come the rest of the leaders, with the exception of Brian Mercurio. 5 to go in stage 1, and much of the leaders are pitting. In fact, the entire front of the field for the most part, other than Mercurio. Wyatt Tinsley stays out. Kevin McAdams is going to stay out. So will Seth Noel, but many, many more coming to pit road.
This is all a bunch of strategy being played out right here, so we'll see who gets the best of the pit stops. Helton was the first one in, so you got to presume he's going to come out ahead of these guys. There you see Alex Kolonix. There goes Helton leaving his pit stall. So this is going to shake up the top 10 a lot as we head to the end of stage 1.
And some interesting strategy there. 6.5 seconds for Helton, 8.5 for Danson. That's about what it was for Brandon Hawkins as well in the box, somewhere in that 8 to 8.5 range. So you've got some differing strategies as far as what these guys are deciding to do on pit road. Presumably, the 8.5 second stops are 2 tires, and everything else is just fuel, or is everything? I'm not sure how these pit stops work, because now the leader's on pit road.
I would assume they're going to take tires, because they might as well, because they have to fill up on fuel pretty much every time. So there you see leader Brian Mercurio's in. Wyatt Tinsley's coming in behind them. Let's see what Kevin McAdams does. He's coming in. Seth Knoll behind him is coming on in. Next car back would be Tyler Gary in the 026.
He said he's coming. Alex Kolonix, by the way, too fast entering pit road, so he had a black flag that he had to serve. That's going to put him back right now in the 27th position. We'll see where he cycles out. Mercurio in and out in 8.7. Logan Helton, though, will take over the lead, and Mercurio is going to come out third, right in front of Danson and behind Brandon Hawkins.
And that's what they call the undercut in road racing. So for Logan Helton, executed that very well. So move him up to the front. Hawkins move him up to second. And Mercurio might lose third here. Danson looking to the inside.
Mercurio trying to get it up to speed. Matt Danson already at speed. Just going to go to the inside. Sends it deep into the chicane. And he will take over third. Trouble.
Kevin McAdams, a lot of damage. What happened here? He was coming out of pit road, and he just looped it coming out of pit road. Hit the outside wall.
Oh, we got the grass. He got the grass there on the inside. Dipped the right side tires, got loose, got the grass, and it sent him back across the racetrack and into the Armco.
That's tough. Here we go. Nothing much more to watch here.
Loose on the gas and gets the grass and back across the track.
That's all it needs. Car is very sensitive when you get it off of the racing surface, and Kevin just proved it there. A lot of damage to the 26. So tough break for Kevin. He ran very well last night at Richmond. He was looking to have a solid top 10 run here tonight. Not over yet, but he just gave himself a lot bigger of an obstacle to overcome, I should say, as still Logan Helton, your leader.
3 to go in stage 1. Brandon Hawkins just running around, it seems like, and behind that Nexus machine of Logan Helton, just taking his time right now.
Well, don't underestimate Logan. He has been very good in no matter what track we're at all season. So very, very underrated performance this year so far for sure. They got some lap traffic ahead of them. Tyler Gary just came off of pit road. Justin Malillo just had him subbing for Cosmin Yoneshu in the 84 car. But right now, Hawken isn't making it easy. He's trying to keep that pressure on Helton. And sometimes the best thing to do here at road courses is to not bump a guy out of the way, but get close enough to where you force him into a mistake. And that's what Hawkins trying to do, is he sends it into one.
And these lappers in front are definitely going to have that impact. You've got Malillo there. Tyler Gary is there, as well as Kyler Wynn just up the road from these guys. So you've got a lot of traffic in front of you. Pit road is closed since we're at 2 to go in the stage. And pits will open once we get the one and only stage caution, which will be when the stage ends here at the end of lap 20.
Oh, Helton got into the grass out of the chicane. Here comes Hawken. Helton shuts the door on him, though. That was probably one of the earlier times that Hawken could have made the pass, and the lap cars are side by side ahead now. Malillo lets him go. Tyler Gary might not be willing to do that as they make their way through the final corner here. Hawkins still all over the back of Helton as they make their way off a turn. Final corner down the front straightaway. Final lap in stage 1.
Last lap, and here comes Hawken for the lead in stage number 1. Helton trying to pinch him, almost contact coming out of turn 1, headed to the S's.
A lot of contact there off of 1. Helton trying to keep it down there. Now will he have the advantage here? The right-hander gets around him into the left-hander. Hawken looking to set this up down the back straightaway. Hawken gets a little loose out of the corner, but he's got the benefit of the draft, and let's see if he makes a move going into the chicane. He looks to the inside.
Oh, he thought better of it. I thought Helton would put the defensive line on him, but instead, Hawkins the one that decides, yeah, maybe not. Oh, got a little loose. Oh, he had the run, but he stays on the inside. Helton's going to give him the room. They'll be side by side coming out of turn 5. Hawken with the advantage. Helton gets back on the gas. They're going to be door-to-door down the backstretch headed to 6.
And fortunately for Helton, this is a left-hander, so he's got the preferred line. Hawken tries to outbrake him. He is clear. Now the right-hander coming up to turn 7. What a move by Brandon Hawken. That might have just won him the stage.
Helton looks, but he can't get back to the inside. Green and white checkered flag is out. The drag race to the line. Give it to Brandon Hawken by half a car length over Logan Helton. Matt Danson finishes 3rd. Brian Mercurio 4th. Blake Reynolds finishes 5th. Nate Stewart, Michael Cozy Jr., Wyatt Tinsley, Landon Mills, Kevin King rounds out the top 10. And now everybody gets to line up behind the Chevy pace car of Jake Pullen. And it'll put us under the caution flag for the first time, the only guaranteed caution flag we will get, just as a competition caution to wrap up the stage and get us on our merry way. There will not be a stage caution at the end of lap 40 for the end of stage number 2. So any other cautions we get the rest of the way, they're going to have to come from incidents and nothing else.
How about our Chevrolet Camaro pace car that Jake Poulin's driving, painted freshly for this race? And he will collect the field down the back straightaway. And Brandon Hawken on the driver chat says, man, that was fun. That was a good battle to watch there, as he and Logan Helton went to war, it seemed like, just for the stage win. I can imagine what the finish of this race is going to be like if they're doing that just for stages. But Jake Poulin in the pace car will pick the field up out of the chicane, and we'll probably do 1 or 2 caution laps. They'll let people get their tires, fix any damage, and Jake will be right back to green in this thing before we know it.
So Justin Malillo is the free pass. He'll get himself back on the lead lap. Pit road will be open this time by for anybody interested in pitting. Now, Dustin Dawes came onto pit road at the end of lap number 6. He is still there. Actually, make it the end of lap number 7. He never completed lap number 7 because he's one of the first couple of boxes. He has not moved since then. Andy Margot made it 3 laps before bringing it to pit road. Make it, 2. He's had some connection issues that I think has just kind of put him on pit road for the time being. Had the same issue in last night's race. So we'll step aside, we'll go to a break, we'll recap pit stops, reset the grid, and get us back on the green here from Watkins Glen. Brandon Hawken, your leader. We're back here from Watkins Glen, getting set to get back under the green flag. We are one lap away from getting this race restarted. While we were away, Ryan Araki decided to stuff it in the tires in turn number 1 and called it a night. So he's moved on, and he will finish more than likely in the 40th position.
40th position?
Yeah, well, okay, so Matt Spalding took the green flag, wrecked, and then I think gave up. So he's going to finish last. Andy Margot sits 42nd. Dustin Dawes, if he ever gets moving, he could pass Naraki. Kevin King is still on the racetrack, but he's 8 laps behind Naraki, so he'll eventually pass him. So I think Naraki will finish then in the 40th position. Yes? Yes. All right. 1 to green here. There is no choose cone, and everybody else is pitting this time.
Was able to get an update on Kevin McAdams in the 26. He said the car was fine. He just had that cosmetic damage, and he looks like he got it all fixed. The car looks good as new. There you see it on the screen. If you remember last time we saw it, at the front end was wrinkled up like crazy. So big props to the Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen crew for that car, getting that thing back looking like it just rolled off the assembly line. But these guys taking the opportunity to pit, top off some fuel, and maybe go a lap or 2 extra. We've seen, Jacob, that older tires in this car, especially, we've even seen it in the Coke Series, at road courses are better. And these, for whatever reason, the tire heat is just kind of maybe a little exaggerated in this car, because we've seen guys that just drive the heck out of these things. The tires just don't really heat up all that much, and they're quicker over the long run. We got a couple of drivers that said their lap 20 time in this race was quicker than their qualifying time for this race. So maybe we'll have a lot of fuel only stops, who knows, but that remains to be seen. But right now it looks like doesn't really matter what tires you have, it's all about how well you can wheel the thing to get around this racetrack.
Reminds me of the 87 cars, that the tires seemingly get better as you continue to wear them down. I know we ran into that a little bit when we were at Charlotte for the World 600. Story from the Dustin Dawes camp: they need to save the Blues Clues machine for Daytona in 2 weeks. It's a backup car for Lane Tidwell.
Well, there's our
Very
answer to
happy.
that.
Yep, so Dawes will not run the rest of the race. Little start and park there for that team. We're about half a lap away from getting back under the green flag.
Okay, I got my eye on here for this restart. If we go back a little bit, is that 051 of Aaron Brown, currently sitting in the 5th position. He had a rough go of it last night, was involved in numerous wrecks at Richmond, and the field wasn't exactly pleased with how he was driving, so and all the wrecks that he was a part of or causing. So look for him to try to rebound and have a good run here. He's doing very well, sitting in 4th right now as we're pacing. So I would look for him to have a nice little rebound race and put himself back up there in a good points position. So Hawken and Danson, very formidable front row, is going to be leading this thing back to green, Jacob.
And just about everybody came onto pit road. It's the top 6 that stayed out. And Hawken, Danson, Noel, Brown, Kolonix, and Waterworth that stayed on the racetrack. Everybody else pitted, whether it was under the first lap of caution when pits were open or the second. So Jake Poulin, the pace car driver, will pull off onto pit road. Brandon Hawken, Matt Danson will get us back under the green flag. The stage ends at the end of lap 40. Back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag.
Cannot change lanes until you get to the start-finish line, and there we go. We got a couple people changing lanes back there. Who is that? Is that Landon Mills back there?
Look out! There goes Mercurio around. Cozy. Big crash in turn 1. Caution is out.
Oh my goodness, Landon Mills, and they're still wrecking. Philip McCandless gets wrecked.
Caution's already out, and McCandless gets turned.
Oh my goodness.
Sounds like Cole Freilich may have made that contact.
McCandless was involved in an accident last night, and the rear of that car looks absolutely destroyed, not cosmetically, but mechanically.
That's got 2 different. Well, no, because he. Okay, let's dissect this.
So
Landon Mills with the Big Balls of the Day award, and it didn't work out.
Took out Mercurio there. Took out a couple others. Mercurio saved it.
Now watch, because caution's out at this point. And it's going to, they're 4 wide. McCandless is slowing down. Cole Freilich is trying to let somebody else back onto the racetrack, and there's contact. You won't be able to see it from that angle. So here's, oh, how did Blake Reynolds make it through that?
Kevin King snuck through there. Yeah, they're 5 wide right there, actually, as they're all trying to funnel in. And
there you saw Freilich come back down. McCandless has parked the car. He's done for the night. He's given up.
Yeah, the rear of that car, you see the rear tires just limp there on the 109. So that's a tough break for Philly. He had a great run last night as well. Was racking up a lot of top 5 finishes here. Finished very well at Atlanta a few weeks ago. So that's a tough break for Phil. But man, that is, why are you sending Landon Mills? We're not even halfway in this race, and we're trying to send it up there. Looked like Jimmy Johnson back in 2000 when his brakes failed in the Busch Series race. That was a head scratcher there for sure.
So Jake Poulin has gotten out of the Chevy pace car and now has gotten into the Porsche pace car. He might be the only league on the planet with 2 different pace cars in the same race.
Well, the problem is the admins threw an iRacing caution instead of an FTF caution.
Well, I assume this was the plan since Poulin was the one that threw the actual caution?
I mean, the way they did it in NR, all the admins had a caution is out hotkey, so I thought they would just spam that.
Well, they did that for the stage, but I thought it was only going to be for the stage, because I didn't really hear any controversy over it being thrown. So we have penalties being given out right now. Cole Freilich and Landon Mills. Oh, Freilich just took out Nick Miller under caution going into turn 6. Freilich's probably going to be done. Remember, these 2 made contact earlier on, and I think they may have made contact again under the caution before this, perhaps. They were right next to each other on the racetrack in line. going back to see if there was any contact between these guys. Cole Freilich has parked it. He's done for the day.
Here's Nick Miller's on board, so Cole's going to pull up to his left here.
And I think this was just radio chatter that caused this.
Stage right here now. There's Cole, and he's just going to... Yep.
Wow. That almost reminds me of what Landon Huffman did Monday Night Racing at Gateway to... I don't even remember who it was that took him out that he went and then tried to chase after. Yeah. Well,
Landon did that in real life
gone.
2 weeks ago, so he has experience.
Freilich's gone, and Miller will stay here. And I'm sure the EOL was the nail in the final coffin there for Cole Freilich. And they just, all right, well, it's not worth it. Let me just take it out, take my ball, and go home.
Yeah, Cole Freilich was parked, so he has left the racetrack. They're giving a huge gap to the pace car. So they have just...
I think it's... Okay, so the pace car is going 60 mile an hour. The problem is that's too fast for the people that are on pit road and have to catch back up to the field. So when we were under caution earlier, I believe we were doing 50 or 45 mile an hour. That's what everybody's doing here. They're backing off and doing 50 mile an hour pacing, so that way everybody has a chance to catch up before they get to turn 6 and 7.
What's that in the grass back there? Was that Caden Rush back there in the grass again, just letting people by? So I just
pulling the
see him back
off.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't mention that, Jacob. Can't say that.
I think with him, since he's a lap down, he has to drop to the back. He wasn't all the way in the back, so he just had to drop to the back, and he thought that was the best part to do it. Cole Freilich writes in, "Penalize me, don't care."
Oh boy.
So yeah.
The beef is getting a little well done in this race.
Little bit. Still got guys trying to catch up. Michael Cozy Jr. and Matt Kemp. They only got to the chicane right now. So we'll
Cozy's car looks better.
Back. The pace car is already at pit row. The rest of the field is almost in turn number 6 down the back straightaway. We're 5 laps through stage number 2. It'll be Brandon Hawken and Matt Danson on the front row for the restart this time around. We've got 32 cars, rather, on the lead lap. And we'll see what happens. See if anybody decides to send it down to the bottom 3 wide this time. Pace car's in.
I think Landon demonstrated you got to know when to do that.
Yeah, not
Here we
now.
go.
Back to the restart zone. Brandon Hawken getting set to go. They get to the end of the wall. He's free to go. Green flag. Landon Mills is pitting. The background, here comes Blake Reynolds. Not a lot of room with Kevin King.
Zwack
Makes
gets
it work.
loose. Matthew Zwack a little further back on into Kyler Wynn coming out of 1. Brian Mercurio with the fresher tires trying to make his way around the outside back there. Here comes Tyler Gary. A lot of moves being made through these S's. We get through at Cleveland.
Let's see how they make it through the bus stop.
Oh,
Side, Aaron Brown.
Seth Knoll.
Oh,
What the
no,
world
Knoll.
happened there?
Oh, we got another one off at the other end of the chicane. It's just one car. Oh, that's Lucas Plessel that missed it. You got almost 3 wide back here.
What in the world happened to Seth?
Stewart.
Oh, the big wreck, almost big wreck out of there. They keep it together. 3 wide in turn 7. Kevin King gets turned.
He's off the track. We're still green. King's
What in
going
the
to lose a ton
world?
of spots. Oh, no, pull out in front of traffic.
What an absolutely chaotic lap that was. Hawkins going to lead that lap.
So I think for Knoll, he just tried to send it in too deep and turned to make the first part of the chicane and just spun.
Kind
And
of
I
look like
mean a hellacious shot to the wall.
yeah, he is out of this race. That car's suspension components are destroyed on the rear end. Oh, it looked like Robert Dorman's incident from last night. As they head down the back straightaway, Gary Waterworth's going to let Tyler Gary move into 6th. Blake Reynolds is going to pass Wyatt Tinsley
trouble.
for 9th.
Into the wall. Kevin, and back into traffic. Nick Miller, Robert Dorman. Caution's out. People were yelling at Dorman, and then, I think netcode. That's what it was. They were yelling at him because he was blinking in and out, and that caused the caution.
Yeah, he was right in the middle of the track when Kevin was trying to go by.
Kevin's broke. I don't think he saw Kevin. But, I mean, they've, like, phased inside of each other, and that caused the contact. I don't know where this replay's starting. Okay, here we go.
All right,
this is the caution.
Dorman doesn't blink until he...
There.
Oh, that's rough for Kevin. He just got all of his damage fixed from the previous wreck, and as you can imagine, he is livid on the radio right now.
Well, and people were talking over him on the radio, too, and he couldn't change his voice channel because he's driving, and the race control can't see everything either, off-track race control.
Is that Nick Miller that hit him?
Yep. That was a big shot.
All right,
okay, so here's the rest of the circus. There's Noel.
Seth, no, this is what started all this, because he just like ramped off of the rumble strip going into the chicane.
I think he was sideways before he got to the chicane. Like, I think under braking, turning the wheel to try and make it, he just sent it in too deep, lost grip, and by that point, he was just along for the ride.
There we see, is that Matt Kemp that was sent through? Then what happened off of the carousel here?
That's Rosero.
Rosero again. How did nobody hit the wall there? That is insane.
Well, and then there's Dorman. You saw Dorman slide through there.
There's the three-way. This is where Kevin King gets turned. That's Gary Waterworth right there.
And Aaron Brown.
Good avoidance by, oh man, it's Blake Reynolds there, sliding around the outside of King. I don't use the term hellacious often, Jake, but what a hellacious lap 28 that was.
Cole Freilich also states that, well, to be completely honest, my intention was to just pull in front of him, but he drove through my car, lol, period.
Props for the punctuation there with the period. All right, so this is interesting.
Are we gonna have anybody left?
I don't know, but I guess we'll find out here. So we'll take 5, I guess, and we'll sort all this out.
Yeah, we're about halfway through stage 2. It's the longest stage ever. We'll be back for the restart after this. All right, you can tell we're paying attention when we're under commercial here at FTF.GG. We're back. We'll have 10 laps to go here in stage number 2. Brandon Hawkins still your leader. Since stage 2 has started, we've turned the crazy switch on, and it's been ridiculous these last couple of laps. All right. So here we go. It's Hawkin and Danson on the front row for this restart. Kalnick, Stewart, Aaron Brown, Gary, Waterworth, Helton, Tinsley, Blake Reynolds is your top 10. Fields off corner number 7. Back into the restart zone. Green flag.
So how many wide do they go into turn number 1?
Wyatt Tinsley that cut down there. 3 wide, it worked. Further back they make it as they now try to accordion through the S's 2, 3, and 4. Hawkins still leading, big gap over Danson. Kalnick and Nate Stewart about to be side by side off turn 4.
Aaron Brown kind of slipping back there from his top 5 restart position. Kalnick's looking with Nate Stewart into the chicane.
Man!
Gary gets loose, has to get checked up. Everybody
missed it. Wrecking behind. Rabideau. Single car. We're good.
2 cars had to cut through that little access road on the chicane. You have to come to a complete stop to not get black flag there. Oh boy, we're going to make it a lap, I think. Hawkin through turn 6.
Well, I don't know.
I think they're battling back here. Logan Helton, Blake Reynolds, Wyatt Tinsley into 7.
Tinsley got a little loose coming out of 6. And now Helton gets loose coming out of 7. And now Hawkin cuts to the bottom.
Kyler Wynn has a slowdown back there. That's why you see him on the low side. Reynolds going low into turn number 1. Going to get the spot from Helton.
Oh, no! Oh, my gosh. Tinsley.
Tinsley has to lock the brakes up. Mercurio will take advantage of that around the outside through the S's. Gets the move done. This has been crazy. These last couple of laps have just been insane. Reynolds all over the back of Tyler Gary.
There they go. Aaron Brown and Kyler Wynn crashing big in turn 4. Isaac Johnson involved. Chris Wetz gets a piece. They are piling it up. Spencer Ray back across the track. Bounces off Jonathan Oates. It is a parking lot and a yard sale off turn 4. Caution's out.
Kevin King got a little bit of it. I don't see a lot of damage on the 29. But producer Zach Johnson, very busy for this race with all these replays. We'll see if we can get numerous looks at this. But, oh, man.
Started Aaron Brown and Kyler Wynn. I don't think Brown quite knew he was 3 wide. We'll see when we get a replay. Or not 3 wide, 2 wide, side by side. So here it is.
Through the S's. Watch the black car, the 51 there. Kyler, he just didn't know he was there, I don't think.
There have been a lot of big wrecks at this part of the racetrack before. It happens again. And once again, we kind of get a realistic accident. We had one last night going into turn 3 at Richmond, and we get a realistic one today coming out of turn 4 at the top of the S's.
So here's on board.
Yeah. Here we go. Spencer Ray on board.
We'll see what he saw. He gets turned at the last second in this. There you see the wreck happening. Goes to the outside.
All good, all good, all good, all good. Darn. Chris Wetz. Ugh.
I think Jonathan Oates there barely squirted through that. There you see Michael Frisch getting on by Matthew Zwack.
And
so,
the guardrails are so close here. That's what makes it so hard to get around accidents when they come back across the racetrack like that. Just, there's nowhere to go. You don't have much runoff or any runoff at that part of the racetrack. It's almost like you're at a street course. And it's just so tough when one car gets sideways coming up the hill. It's just calamity on the other side.
So if the admins, I assume, are going to put that on the 051 there of Aaron Brown. So that's just tough. I mean, especially on these road courses, you got to be cognizant of where everybody is. And you can't even trust the iRacing spotter in some instances. You know, that could be a little bit inaccurate when they're telling you where everybody is. So you got to use your mirrors and your spatial awareness to get yourself and everybody through these corners safely. And that's probably the worst spot to wreck is where they did. Because, as you said, Jacob, you just bounce off of those walls.
Oof.
Or I should say guardrails.
Guardrails, Armco barriers,
Even worse.
pieces of metal.
Bumpers.
Yeah.
This kind of act like more like bumpers. If you've ever been to a bowling alley,
Bowling alley, yeah.
Yeah, they just ricochet cars off of that like it's nothing.
We're not bowling at the Glen. It's, what in the world is this race called again? Speed Vision at the Glen, something like that?
Wow.
Yeah, Speed Vision's at the Glen. Okay.
There you go.
So Matt Dansel will come on to pit road. Everybody else, for the most part, will stay out. A couple more behind will make the turn onto pit road as well. We'll have about 6 to go in the stage when we get a restart.
Seeing all these wrecks would make me kind of nervous to pit because I don't want to be back with all this happening, but a lot of takers coming onto pit road, pretty much the entire back half of the field.
Yeah, good amount coming. So stuff coming up on FTF.gg on Wednesday. It's the finale, season finale of the Esports Racing League from the Nashville Fairgrounds, 200 laps, super late models, 7:30 Eastern Time. That's Wednesday, August 17th. The NASCAR qualifying iRacing series is back on Thursday. The next day, 9 o'clock Eastern Time from Lucas Oil Raceway. Should be a fun time. A week from tomorrow, the iRacing Regional Short Course Series is back, and it's on FTF.gg this time around with Joe Peak and what's written here, Short Course Driver. They'll be calling the action from Crandon Short with the Pro 4s on Monday, next Monday, 9:20 p.m. Eastern. SimCar returns on Thursday the 25th, alternating with the Rotopro schedule there at Watkins Glen on not this Thursday, but next Thursday, August 25th at 8:30. We're back 2 weeks from tonight at Daytona, the regular season finale, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a disaster, more than likely, and we'll have it all for you right here on FTF.gg.
Very much looking forward to that race.
Yeah.
Just how much of a disaster it'll be.
Well, you know, the last race I think I called at Daytona in these cars.
Yeah, okay. I see where you're going.
I was going to say the Podium 500, and then I realized that Monday Night Racing did that earlier this year to open the season. So it was that, actually, not the Podium 500. But
yes.
There you go.
Thank you, Jake.
Yep.
So Brandon Hawken, Alex Kolonix will be your front row. Nate Stewart, Tyler Gary, Brian Mercurio there you see on the left side of your screen is your top 5. I got to see who were the pitters in that. So the first 6 cars did not pit. So Hawken, Kolonix, Stewart, Gary, Reynolds, Mercurio were the first cars that did not take tires or pit. Everybody else did.
All right, so here we go. Six to go in stage 2. See how far we make it. Back to the restart zone. Hawken, Kolonix, front row. And let's see if Hawken saved enough fuel as somebody's motor just exploded on the pit lane. Green flag.
Kolonix didn't get very good of a restart. Here comes Nate Stewart to the inside. He'll clear him. Stewart tries to get in front of Gary. He does, and everyone's just all over the place from about 5th on back as they make their way through the S's.
So far, so good. Let's see what happens when they get up to the top of the hill. Gary now sitting in 4th. Mercurio behind him in 5th.
Oh, boy, Gary Waterworth. You see that yellow car?
Big moment back there.
A lot of smoke coming out of that. I guess his engine did blow up. Or something. I don't know what happened there. He's got a lot of right front damage on that car.
Got a meatball. Caden Rush just missed the corner.
So watch the yellow car. Zach Johnson says, watch this. That's what happened. Oh, right in front of Kevin King again. Jonathan Oates got a piece of it there in the 73. That's a tough break. Kevin King was sort of involved in the last 2 instances there. Not a lot of damage I see on the 29, but King's got to be frustrated for sure.
Waterworth had a good run going. And he needs points. As far as the playoff picture is concerned, any points would be nice. Got to go back and find where the points were posted. Here it is.
Trouble in turn one.
That's
Tyler Lane.
There was somebody else involved in that. There were two cars.
That's Ryan Pandicio.
Yeah, Lannon missed the corner, slammed into Melillo, and spun. Melillo now has a meatball flag. Justin Melillo is furious over the radio.
Let's see what happened here.
There was the incident further up there.
That's Justin right there going through the chicane. A lot of damage. Here's Tyler Lane, and this is going into turn one. What in the world happens here?
And Melillo said he was letting everybody go by, so he wasn't sure why he was being so aggressive trying to get by him.
And then there's Pandicio. This happened later, further
they
up
are
the road.
far wide on the front straightaway for position. Danson is here, Helton, Cozy, and Tyler Gary. They sorted out to 2x2 going down into turn number one. And there might be 3 wide again by the time they get to the top of the hill in the S's.
Gary is considerably slower than these guys. Remember, he was one of the few that stayed out. I'm sorry, Gary pit under that last caution. So actually, never mind. I'm getting myself backwards. Gary stayed out on that last caution. Everybody else behind him pit. So Cozy.
Here we go.
Rosero, Helton.
Mills. Oh, and Rosero did it again. He turned into the wall again on entry. Ugh.
A lot of damage I'm seeing on that 023, so he's able to keep it going. But as I was saying earlier, Tyler Gary, you see this black car leading all these cars here. He was the last car to stay out under that last caution. Everyone else behind him pit, so he's got the G-Altus Esports tag team of Cozy and Matt Danson behind him, so he's going to have a fun time holding those guys off. But as we mentioned earlier, Jake, the older tires might be a little bit better as it takes those newer tires a little bit longer to heat up.
3 to go. Spencer Ray is coming off of pit road. Didn't even know he was on pit road, to be completely honest. But Brandon Hawken pulling away, kind of leaving everybody behind. There you saw Cozy and Danson. Those are teammates now. Very important for Cozy. You've had the issues. Trouble, Landon Mills. In the grass, turn 3. Puts it in gear. We're back rolling.
Been an eventful night for all the wrong reasons for Landon Mills, so he's able to keep it going. Matt Danson gets by Michael Cozy in the chicane. That's for 7th, so he's right behind Tyler Gary now.
And now Cozy, he is 85 points behind the cut line to make it into the playoffs on points. The way things sit in front of him, Noraki, Rabideau, and Tinsley all could lock in here tonight. Now Noraki already wrecked, so he probably won't lock in. Rabideau's had a terrible, rotten, no good luck day, so he probably won't. Now there you see Hawken. Remember, he'd never pitted during this stage, so he pits now with 2 to go. Pit road will close, and Alex Kolonix will take over the lead. I was wondering if Hawken was going to be able to make it the whole way on fuel. He will not, so he'll pit there. But Waterworth, he's had a bad run. Cozy running up inside the top 10 right now. This is crucial for him. 85 points behind Waterworth. Waterworth is the cut line. Chris Wetz is some 200 points above Michael Cozy Jr. right now, almost 300 points. So he may not be able to get to Wetz in these final, 1.5 races, but he's got to have the eyes on Gary Waterworth right now to take that last spot away. Alex Kolonix is also in the hunt with that. A win would lock him into the playoffs and would bump Waterworth out.
Nate
Here comes
Stewart
Nate Stewart.
to the inside in turn 6. He's going to get the move done. Is Kolonix out of fuel? I don't hear anything coming out of that car. He
He's
might
out
be
of
coming to pit
fuel.
road. Oh,
He ran
man.
out of gas. I didn't think that he pitted either. He could have really used those stage points, but he can't make it. Last lap, stage 2. Now, the pits were never officially closed, so he is not going to get a penalty for going on to pit road on the last lap of the stage. And now Blake Reynolds is trying to catch Nate Stewart. Can Nate Stewart make it back around?
Again, the front 4 did not pit, so the front 4, Stewart, Reynolds, Mercurio, and Gary, all did not pit under that last caution. So they're going to have to come in regardless, as we have Stewart going through the They used to call it the inner loop. Now we call it the chicane here as they make their way through the carousel. Blake Reynolds all over him. Stewart's going to have to have a perfect next couple of corners to hold Blake off.
Here comes Reynolds. Big run. Mercurio is too far back. It's going to be another dogfight coming to the stage, and we do not get a caution with this stage end. So here's Stewart into 6. Good exit. Reynolds in tow. Drives it in deep. Looks to the inside. He's there. Trying not to make any contact. To the line. The green and white checkered flag. Give it to Nate Stewart.
So Stewart will take the stage, and you got to think he's going to relinquish the lead to Reynolds here. And he does. So stage results, Stewart wins it. Blake Reynolds second. Mercurio, Gary, Danson, Cozy, Helton, Tinsley, Rosero, and Michael Frisch will round out the top 10 and earn points for that stage. What a rebound by Frisch. We saw him a lap down to start this thing after missing the start, and he's back in the top, was back in the top 10 now, but he's back up towards the front again.
.36 laps to go here from Watkins Glen. Nate Stewart has not given up the fight for the race lead, and Brian Mercurio picked up some time that last time around, and he's trying to reel in top 2.
Mercurio was so dominant at the beginning of this race, had a few issues pop up which hindered him a little bit. He has been able to get by everybody again and get back into the podium positions to chase down the top 2 here. So Reynolds will lead lap 41. Stewart second, Mercurio third, Gary fourth, Danson fifth. And Gary has been able to put a little bit of distance between he and the Logitech Gialtis guys. So good job for Tyler Gary. There you see Danson making his way through turn 1. Teammate Michael Cozy Jr. right behind him, though struggling a little bit. He's got Logan Helton all over him. Going into the S's, Helton will look to the outside. Nothing doing there, and Wyatt Tinsley is just behind them in case one of them makes a mistake.
3-car battle up at the front for the lead. Chris Wett's the lap car just up the road as the leader's coming through the chicane. A little bit of a bobble from Reynolds coming out of the S's. I thought Stewart would be able to punctuate that a little bit more, but he couldn't do it. And he'll still sit in that second spot. Mercurio has caught him, looking for that second position, but we know this top 3, top 4, including Tyler Gary, they're going to have to pit pretty soon, and they will not be able to make it to the end on one more stop. They're going to have to pit twice.
Aaron Brown has taken the 51 behind the wall as here comes Reynolds. So Blake is the first one to pull off, so he will pit. Let's see if there's any other takers behind him. I'm not seeing anybody else, so Blake is going to be the first. You got to think that here comes Brian Mercurio for the lead, so he's going to take it, but these guys up front here, Mercurio, Stewart, and Gary, are all going to have to come in this time to kind of be on par with Reynolds. Got one off the track in turn 1. Nathan Rabideau is stuck into the runoff in turn 1. What in the world happened here?
Kyler Wynn made contact. Kyler Wynn, he's not winning. He didn't brake. Oh my! I hope he broke, but not the brake pedal.
Well, that car is broke.
I mean, he absolutely junked him.
I mean, he may have been looking in his mirror at the car behind him. I don't know, but
the car behind him's a lap down, multiple laps down. That's Caden Rush.
Well, nonetheless, that's going to take Kyler and Nathan Rabideau out of this race. That is bizarre. We've seen a lot of bizarre stuff happening in this race, and that is one of them.
Your leaders are on pit road, Nate Stewart and Brian Mercurio. You don't think that was because he broke his clutch pedal or anything and the pedal came off his rig, do you?
I don't know. I don't think it's a Verstappen situation or anything, or I don't know, but that is...
I was thinking a Cisco situation, but...
Oh my goodness. Cisco just had everything break in that one season, of course, so we can't give Cisco a hard time.
For the lead, Tyler Gary out in front. Matt Danson wants it. You got Cozy and Logan Helton in a good battle right behind in that third spot.
So Gary's going to be coming in. I thought he'd be coming in this time. He stays out.
No, he said he's
So
coming this time.
Okay, there we go. That's what I figured. Everyone pit the lap before, so he has to come in now. So Danson will assume the lead here once Gary pits. If Gary pits, got a wide exit there for pit road, but there goes Danson, and on the pit road goes Gary.
So Matt Danson, the Kiwi, takes over the lead. 32 laps to go. Here from Watkins Glen.
Well, Matt Danson's enjoying his early Monday morning festivities there all the way in Australia. So he's out front here at Watkins Glen. Teammate Michael Cozy Jr. right behind, but you can see right there Logan Helton all over the back of the 99.
Of course,
Tyler
Logan
Gary
Helton already locked into the playoffs. He's got a win this season back at Gateway. 6th in points as far as the playoff standings.
Tyler Gary comes out of the pits in 17th. So we'll see where that all shakes out once the leader's strategy comes to the front of the table. So these guys won't be pitting for a while.
Now, Matt Danson, if he wins this race...
Would you say he's going to be dancing all around if he wins?
Well, yeah. He'll be in the playoffs. This is his 20th start this season. In order for your win to count, to lock you into the playoffs, you have to have 20 starts. This is start number 20 on the season for Danson. If he can win this race, he will put himself into the playoffs, but bump his teammate in Michael Cozy Jr. further behind the cut line and make Chris Wetz the bubble going into the season finale in 2 weeks at Daytona.
And that's the bubble is somewhere you don't want to be going into a
Cozy
spot.
crashes! He got hit by Logan Helton getting into the bus stop. Cozy spins out. Helton takes a spot. Tinsley passes both of them. Now Helton's hanging on for dear life. Here comes Rosero.
They are sorting it out on the radio right now, but that is definitely a scary moment for both of them. Luckily, it doesn't knock any of them out of the top 5. But man, that was a lot of moments are occurring in this race, and that was certainly one of them. Fortunately, it wasn't worse than it could have been, but you gotta think Cozy is definitely not happy after all that.
Certainly doesn't help.
Definitely does not. He's got Rosero all over the back of him. Rosero still nursing that damage after he hit the wall earlier. Michael Frisch is ducked it on the pit road. Kevin McAdams, there you see him. He had a bit of a moment earlier. He should be coming in now as he goes into pit road. There's a lot to unpack in this race, Jacob. It's hard to keep track of.
It's like an onion. There are a lot of layers to it.
A lot of layers to it. So Matt Danson is your leader. Wyatt Tinsley second. Logan Helton, Michael Cozy, and Michael Rosero is your top 5. Then Landon Mills, Matthew Zwack, Matt Kemp, Jonathan Oates, Kevin King is your top 10. This top 10 has not been safe for anybody. I don't think anywhere on this track is safe for anybody right now. As here comes Cozy.
Cozy, and Danson's in as well.
Teammates,
So
same strategy.
Wyatt Tinsley into the lead. Logan Helton is right behind him. This is for position for the lead going down into turn number 1. They are still not quite in the window to make it the distance. They're going to have to make one more stop if they pit, more than likely probably within the next 5 laps. After that, I think they might be in a window, especially if we get a caution.
It's still going to be a little close because you got to go 20 plus laps on a tank, and that might not even be enough to make it there. So we've documented these smaller fuel tanks in these cars could play a big factor into how this race plays out strategy-wise, and we're seeing it right before our eyes as Helton gets a great exit on the chicane, but Tinsley's going to hold him off going into the carousel. But we've documented how good Logan Helton's been in this race so far. I don't think he's led a lap yet, so we're going to see if he can make the move as here he comes down into turn 6.
Tracks over here, guys. Well, it doesn't matter. Here comes Helton.
Around the outside. Nice.
And he'll take the lead back.
So Logan Helton puts that 63 Nexus Esports Chevrolet Camaro back to the
pitting.
front.
So is Rosero.
Anyone behind him? Let's
Zwack
see. Matt Kemp,
will take over third. Landon Mills in second. Kemp stays out. Kevin King
Oates is coming in.
Stay out. Yep, here comes Oates. Miller stays out. Brandon Hawkett obviously stays out. He's already pitted. These guys that stayed out here, they probably have 2 or 3 laps in them maybe. That'd be your top 6 from Helton down to Miller. And then you've got Hawken, who when he makes his stop will probably be in about 7 or 8 laps. That's going to be at about 20. He could only make it 19. That was with an abundance of caution laps. So I don't know. We may still be in a 2-stopper at this point, even for the guys that just came onto pit road.
I think Hawken might have put himself in a good spot though, because if he pits, just inside of 20 to go, that can ensure he can make it to the end. Let's see. He is on, what lap is he on right now for his run? He's on lap 10.
10.
So if he just runs it out here and then pits again, he should be good to make it to the end on fuel.
Leaders on pit road.
And that'll probably set him up to be there at the end, as here comes Helton now. But again, the guy's pitting right now. I don't think they can make it still. So you're right, Jacob. That's going to be another stop for all these guys coming in, and Hawken can pit a little later.
Hawken stays out. He'll take the lead. Blake Reynolds is behind him by about 7/10, and then you've got Mercurio there as well. So they'll take over the top 3 and keep on rolling as we are on lap 50 rather, 27 to go.
It doesn't seem like every road race that FTF does, Brandon Hawken and Blake Reynolds are 1-2 at some point. Like, it just seems like it's the common theme, the status quo for these races, if you will. But Brian Mercurio, don't count that third car out behind that purple car, Reynolds back there. Again, been strong that whole first part of the race, and he's been there the entire time, and he could very well overtake Blake Reynolds here in a little bit.
Kyler Wynn has parked the car, done for the night.
Justin Lillo gets the hell out of the way, as he says.
Yep, back out on the racetrack after that contact with Tyler Landon.
Track has quieted down a little bit. I think the anarchy has ended so far. We could get a good little race here, strategy race to the finish, as you're looking at the battle right now for what is the 6th position. That yellow car, Gary Waterworth, is not a part of that. It's Wyatt Tinsley and Logan Helton. And just behind them is Matt Danson, looking to join this battle as well. Helton trying to make a recovery after getting into Michael Cozy earlier in the chicane.
I think part of that was Cozy getting loose, and then the other part was Helton getting into him and kind of finishing the job off. Kind of a 2-piece deal there. That, Cozy might have been able to save it, but he didn't really have an option because he got hit from behind as well. But
Brett Pancari making his way out of pit road. So
now Cozy, implications. Michael Cozy Jr. sped coming onto pit road. In the box for 48 seconds. He's back in the 18th position, 17 seconds behind 17th in Jonathan Oates. Just caught it now a couple laps after his pit stop. I looked for Cozy, realized, wait, he's not in the top 10. That's why.
So glass half full for Cozy. He's still on the lead lap. So if we get a full course caution, he is right back into this thing, albeit right smack in the middle of the hornet's nest, where he'll have to certainly avoid a wreck, but it's not over for him by any means.
I don't know if he'll get the chance to get a caution just because of how strung out everybody is. Remember, you need 2 cars or more in order to get a caution flag. Might have one for the battle for the lead, though, because it's accordion together. Hawken, Reynolds, and Mercurio, all 3 under a blanket through turn 5.
All very similar lap times, too, in the 109s.
Trouble, Nick Miller. Nick Miller's around. This is
Single
turn
car.
1. And nobody's coming for miles, so he's fine.
It's a self-inflicted spin there. Got Car just got off the rumble strip on the exit of the corner, lifted the right side tires up and around that car went, so no caution, staying green.
And that's in front of Cozy. That shows how big of a gap that is to Cozy, because the gap now, it's down to 9 seconds between Cozy and Nick Miller.
Leader's
Yikes.
going by the lap car of Art Reimer. He gets out of the way. A couple other ones, Brett Poncari's a lap car. Down the road, Brian Pandisio. So these guys will have some traffic to contend with at the front of the field. Michael Rosero is yelling over the radio.
Heard no, that's a slowdown, but where is he at? He's battling Landon Mills. This is 3 and 4. Rosero has a slowdown. He has to let Tinsley go by. My guess is he dipped over into the grass. Oh, he got too wide. Coming out of turn 1. He got too wide just on exit. There's that runoff, and some guys like to use a lot of it. Well, the sim doesn't like that too much, and it cost him.
Is that 3 slowdowns? We have a lot of cars. Scotty Smith overshot the chicane. He had to go straight through it. Alice Kalonic's Kevin King back here fighting. I think that's the 3rd slowdown for Michael Rosero. So he has used every inch of the racetrack, permissible and unpermissible in the sim. As we see back up front, Brandon Hawken, Reynolds, Mercurio, your top 3. They have a considerable gap back to Nate Stewart, about 5 seconds back to Nate. So right now, as our Travis Brown likes to say, it's a 3-horse pony show at the dog race at the front here at Watkins Glen.
And Nate Stewart is some 4 seconds back, so he's pretty much out of the picture right now. Tyler Gary's another 4 seconds behind him. Got a good battle, though, for 6th. Wyatt Tinsley and Logan Helton.
And Blake Reynolds got an awful chicane there. Used too much of the rumble strips, as it looked like it upset that car quite a bit. And that's allowed Hawken to put about a half second on him. He's got Mercurio all over the back of him, so they're going to have a little bit of work to do to get back to Hawken.
These guys are on 4 and 5 lap fresher tires, respectively, than Hawken. And here comes Hawken to pit road now. We're 22 to go this time. Hawken is going to have to save dramatically. I don't think he can make it.
Let's see, he was on, I couldn't tell what lap he was on in that run.
That was lap 15 coming to the start of lap 16 on his run.
So he might have to pit one more time with that, depending on how the mileage goes.
Pitting as well.
So this is where you have to hit the strategy perfectly with all these guys. We're going to see more pit stops coming pretty soon. The next one that should be coming in, our leader Blake Reynolds is on lap 12 of his run.
Kolonic's in.
They work around the lap car. Brian Pandisio there. So Reynolds is on lap, I believe I said lap 12 of his run. Mercurio's on lap 11. Nate Stewart behind them is on lap 11. So they are all going to be pitting around maybe like a lap or 2 from each other. So we'll see who ducks off first and when. But whoever executes better on pit road obviously is going to have the say in this one.
And add Tyler Gary into that mix as well. Gary, he pitted 10 laps ago, so a lap after Mercurio and Stewart, 2 after Blake Reynolds. On pit road now, Nick Miller.
Nick Miller has called it a night, brought it into the pits, and has left. Hopped out of that car and said, I am done.
Hope Cole Frelic's not waiting for him.
Oh boy.
So we're coming to 20 to go this time by. And we don't think that they can make it on one more stop. We think they're going to have to make 2 more pit stops to make it to the end of this race.
Depending on who saves more. So if we'll start probably seeing if they can stretch it, guys start pitting with around maybe 15 or 16 to go. But you got to make it there first and save as much as you can. And I think Brian Mercurio knows that right now behind Blake Reynolds. He hasn't looked to pass him. He's probably just trying to save as much fuel as he can in the slipstream of the 00. So we'll see Mercurio just hanging out there behind him while Blake uses a lot more fuel, cutting that hole through the air. So Mercurio playing the strategy perfectly, I think, and he's going to set himself up to have a run at this thing at the end. But the guy we got to follow is Brandon Hawken. He was the first one that pit out of the first 3 here. He's currently sitting back in 12th, going into turn number 6 right now. So who knows when he'll have to come back in, but 2 different strategies are going to be at the forefront of this thing when we come down to it. On board there with Brandon Hawken, you see just how violent those rumble strips are on this car. Luckily for these guys, they don't have to feel those bumps unless they have some hardware to help them out with that. But in the real car, I can't imagine if they're feeling that, just how much of an effect it'll have on them over the course of a 90-lap race like they do there in real life.
Yep, that's Mercurio, by the way, in second.
Who did I say?
You said Hawken.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Brandon Hawken, the nicest guy on the sim. Had him on my mind that we were talking about him.
I can't talk about Blake Reynolds without calling him Brandon Hawken. I don't know why, but
now
here we go for the lead.
Mercurio makes the move into 1. I don't think Reynolds will contend of that much.
Oh!
Stand corrected, and they're coming up to Robert Dorman again. So we'll see how Dorman negotiates the leaders here as they make their way up to him through the S's.
Hopefully not in the middle of the racetrack like last time.
His internet connection looks stable. Oh, boy.
How about right in the middle of the racetrack this time?
Oh, boy. Okay,
and he's just going to go ahead and cut the corner, kills a cone.
There we go. Good job by Dorman to get out of the way there, showing courtesy to the leaders. I was kind of surprised there that Mercurio made that move going into 1 on Reynolds. I thought for sure that he might just try to sit back and use the slipstream to save some fuel as we look back on board with Mercurio. I got it right that time. So looking through, going into turn number 1, Reynolds, you see him kick the rear end of that car out as Reynolds is coming onto pit road.
Yeah, Mercurio will stay out another lap. Now remember, Mercurio was out there longer by a lap than both Stewart and Mercurio. So we're looking at about 15, 16 laps on a run of fuel. These guys aren't going to make it. They're going to have to pit again. But that means that Helton, Danson, and the rest should be able to make it on 1 more pit stop. The problem is somebody like Brandon Hawken, he's also looking at 1 more pit stop.
So we'll see just how much fuel Mercurio is able to save sitting behind Blake Reynolds. As there you see Brandon Hawken going into turn number 1 here. Mercurio's just exiting the chicane now. So I'm curious to see if he's going to make his pit stop this time or how long he's going to try to stretch it. But when this cycles out, we should see Brandon Hawken back up to the front here. Is actually Blake Reynolds able to get out in front of him there, as you can see. So these 2 are going to be the first 2, and that's a lot of a big benefit for Reynolds there. Mercurio out of the final corner. He is coming in. So Brian Mercurio brings the 41 in. The Letard Esports Chevrolet
Stewart
Camaro
in as well. So that'll hand the lead over to Tyler Gary.
We'll see what kind of mileage Gary can get out of this. Logan Helton will stay out as well. Matt Danson is still out. Wyatt Tinsley. Landon Mills, and all the trials and tribulations he's had in this race, is in the 5th position. Gary works his way down the backstretch into the chicane just behind them. Wyatt Tinsley making a move. Or I'm sorry, that should be Logan Helton.
Mercurio and so Reynolds comes out in front of Hawken and in front of Mercurio. Hawken is the 2nd in that group. Mercurio 3rd in that group. That's 8th, 9th, and 10th after Mercurio just got by Matt Kemp.
So when this all cycles out, Blake Reynolds should be the leader. All the guys ahead of them still have to pit. Gary's coming in now. Helton will stay out. He'll assume the lead.
Gary's going to be close. If he saves enough, there's a chance. These guys here, though, on fumes, should be able to make it on 1 more pit stop.
Danson stays out. Tinsley out. Mills out. Gary just gets into his stall. Matthews Whack will stay out, so he'll assume the 5th position. Here comes
Now,
Hawkins again.
Hawkins in. Hawkins pits here. I think he can make it.
Splash, I believe, for Brandon Hawkins. I don't think there's any point in changing tires right now. So we'll see what he
changed tires
does.
last time.
Try to do the double stint here for these hot tires for Hawkins. Let's see what he does. He pulls in. No tires are up, so splash and go for Brandon Hawkins. There he goes. So now he's good on fuel. Now the question is, what does everybody else behind him do? I got to assume they would do the same thing.
He's coming out behind Tyler Gary. Gary took right sides. And Gary is like 10-some seconds ahead of him. Here comes Danson to pit road.
Danson pulls off. We'll have to go back to
speed here.
Have to go back to Matthews Whack in 5th to see what he does. So Whack will stay out as well. And then you go back to our guys that did pit.
Yep. And Reynolds did gap Mercurio a little bit. The gap was much tighter when they were on the racetrack before they pitted. Frisch is in, but the gap is almost a second now between the 00 and the 41. 15 to go.
They called him Matt Kemp here in the 005. He is sitting there currently in the 7th position, started back in 25th. So
he spun on the first lap.
He did. So a little bit of right front damage or right side damage on that car, but otherwise very solid run for Matt so far.
Still got a pit yet, but still a good run.
So we got to think Logan Helton should be coming in either this or next time by. So he's coming into 7 now, so we'll see what he does. He'll stay out.
I mean, he can afford to wait. I mean, he can still make it. So it's less fuel that he has to save, especially if he's only going to take fuel. I can see how this strategy works. Less time in the box.
No other takers towards the front that I can see. Blake Reynolds is making his way back in, so he's going to come in and top off. Mercurio stays out.
Top off. Wow, I thought he was going to be good.
So Mercurio will stay out here.
I thought maybe he was going to be good. Thought maybe he had a shot, but doesn't look like it. So that means Mercurio, unless he saves like crazy, he's going to have to come back in.
So Blake is into his box, no tires, going to fill that thing up full of fuel and go. So he's down and away. So let's see what our leader Logan Helton does. There you see them going into the chicane there. Now back to Logan. Working his way through turn 6 into turn 7. And here he comes. So let's see what he does. Does he take tires or does he splash and go like everybody else? I would assume he would just do the fuel only. Wyatt Tinsley right on his tracks going into the pits.
Oh, he sped! Tinsley sped!
Oh.
That's going to be a 40-second hold for Wyatt Tinsley.
So that'll take him out.
He had at a good finish. Gone. Mercurio stays out. Landon Mills is your leader. Mercurio is going to cycle out in front to be ahead of Mills once he decides to make the stop. Same with Zwack.
So Helton is down and away. He's making his way onto the access road. He's side by side with Danson. So let's see if he's going to try to hold off Matt Danson here on the exit of pit lane. We've seen that outside near contact there with Danson. So move Danson into 7th. And now let's see what Landon Mills and company do. So he and Zwack still have to pit. Landon has a considerable lead over Zwack, 13 seconds. So Mills making his way.
Tinsley.
His cat jumped on his test.
Oh my, and it scared him, I guess. Oh,
there's no way. So here comes Landon. Let's see if he gets onto the pit road well. No speeding for him. So this will hand the lead over to Zwack if he stays out.
And he's probably going to pit. Same with Kemp.
Here he stays out.
He stays out.
Wow, okay.
Kemp's pitting. Kevin King's in. Nate Stewart is the first guy on the racetrack. No, it'll be Danson, the first guy on the track, that we are sure can make it to the end. Nate Stewart, Brian Mercurio, they might be a little too over the line. They're going to have to save a good amount here in these final 12 laps.
Drama, implications, strategy, chaos. I mean, this race has had pretty much everything if you're a race fan. So back up to the front here, the leaders, the 2 cars here. Matthew Zwack in that 7 car, Brian Mercurio in the 41. Those are your first 2. Then you got to go all the way back to Nate Stewart, 7 seconds behind these guys in 3rd. So we got to see if Zwack is pitting. He's indicated he's coming in.
Let's see what Mercurio does. He's right behind him, that white car.
Staying out.
Stays out. Looks like Mercurio's trying to play the long game. 11 to go.
Mercurio, it's going to be so close for him. Seeing everybody else's fuel mileage in this race, he is on lap 6 of his run right now. We've seen these guys be able to go 15 or so laps on fuel, so
17.
he'll be close. So if anyone can,
with Nate Stewart, who's in 2nd. Sorry, Sean. It's going to be Danson, who is in a battle right behind Stewart with Logan Helton. This is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the same shot. Could be a race for the win. Nate Stewart, he's backing off. He is saving. And in fact, I think Mercurio is as well. They're about a second slower that last time by compared to Helton. Helton is flying right now.
I mean, if anyone can save that fuel, it is Brian Mercurio. Stewart's going to still save. He might be short shifting in this car to try to get as much fuel mileage out of it as he can. Danson all over the back of him, though, trying to pressure him into pushing that car harder. Nate earlier on the brakes, and that'll open the door for Helton underneath Danson, but he's going to stay in line.
10 laps to go. Take a look at the times here as they get to the start-finish line. Stewart, the slowest out of them all. Danson peaks, can't get there. Nate Stewart shuts the door. They'll be side by side for 3rd. Up the hill, no, they're not. They'll get back single file.
Stewart's still out in front of these guys. Danson holds off the charge from Helton, a 110. 788 last time by for Stewart. As here comes Danson to the inside, Stewart has to concede it.
Oh, don't go in the grass. How about 3 wide? What a move by Logan Helton. He's going to fall back, still behind Danson.
Oh!
Sideways. They both really botched the chicane. They make contact again, going into the carousel. And Logan Helton around the outside. Can he maintain the spot?
Danson went a little bit too narrow into the chicane, really messed up the middle of the chicane. They're still side by side using the side draft. Helton on the preferred line. Is he going to be able to clear? Yes, he is. So Helton up to 2nd now. And they're still monitoring the actions of Mercurio. So Brian just crossed the line now, a 110, 109 for him. For Logan Helton, even with battling all that, a 110.7.
And Mercurio pulling away. He's extended that gap now to 8 seconds, over 8 seconds in these final 9 laps. The question is that big enough of a gap for him to save enough fuel as Logan Helton starts to put a big chunk of distance between himself and Matt Danson? Helton has gone to victory lane this year, pitted 2 laps later than Danson, so if anybody can make it on fuel, it's going to be Logan Helton. And of course, Danson looking for a win. If he wins, he locks himself into the playoffs. But it may be fuel that costs him a shot at that win if Logan Helton can pull away from the 30.
The more they battle, though, that is good news for Brian Mercurio. That means he can save a little bit more if he needs to. So back up front there, you see Brian just got out in front of Isaac Johnson, I believe that is, right in front of him in that 66 car. So Brian just taking his time, making sure he stays smooth here. But Helton and Danson and Stewart still trying to fight it out for 2nd. We got 8 laps to go now.
Helton closed the gap in, but not by much, just by 0.3 of a second or so that last time by. He's going to need a lot more help to catch Mercurio. If Mercurio thinks he can make it on fuel, that's trouble for Wyatt Tinsley.
Just outside the chicane for Wyatt. He's able to keep it going. Back to Logan Helton now. Gets through the bumps here in the inner loop. Out of it now with Danson all on his tail. But you're right, Jacob. They're not making up nearly the amount of time they need to in order to catch Brian Mercurio, as Helton goes way wide out of the carousel. So they're going to need Mercurio to run it out of fuel or something in order to have a solid chance here.
Yeah, this lap might just be worse here for Helton and Danson. Danson kind of closing back in on that 63 just a little bit, coming back to the stripe. They're going to have 7 laps to go. And at the stripe, a 109.8, only 0.2 faster that last time by. They're going to need Mercurio to run out of fuel in a hurry because he's got a huge buffer. They need to pick up more than a second a lap, and right now it looks like Mercurio may be the faster of the 3 of them.
I'm listening to Mercurio's cockpit right now, and it doesn't sound like he's saving at all, so he's keeping it in 4th gear down that back straightaway, and I think he's pretty confident that he can make it all the way. So he's just running his normal pace, just keeping the tires on it, trying not to make a mistake. A little bit of a short shift out of the carousel there, so maybe trying to save a little bit, who knows. But this is about the time that he needs to kind of relax and keep that all 4 tires underneath that car while these guys right here battle it out for second.
And if these guys are smart, they don't battle. They just try to push each other as best they can to try and catch your race leader. They've cut it down a little bit again, this time by 7.5 seconds, but only a 1/10 quicker than Mercurio that last time by, with 6 laps to go.
Mercurio's got the lap car of Lane Tidwell to contend with just ahead of him, so Lane will probably stay out of his way. And right back here, there you see them. We've been focused on this battle throughout this whole last closing part of the race. This could be potentially for the win if Mercurio for some reason can't make it. So Logan Helton, we know for sure can, and it all just depends on how well the guys behind them save. Danson we know can make it. We don't know about Stewart yet. So we'll keep an eye on these guys and the fuel mileages as well. But right now, if this race continues the way it is, Mercurio has this thing all but wrapped up.
Looks like he's braking a little early, or at least lifting early. Trying to save fuel that way instead of just clutching it around. But Mercurio definitely in save mode. The gap is down under 7 seconds. We're at 5 laps to go, though.
This is playing out just like Richmond did last night. It had a couple of differing strategies. Guys had to save to make it on fuel in that race, and not surprising, the end of the Watkins Glen race proves to be the same scenario. So Mercurio is saving a little bit here and there, just enough to get to the end, but we'll see just how much he did save. Nathan Rabideau indicates he's pitting. But right now, I'm pretty sure that the front field, we've seen the last of the pit stops for these guys. It's either make it or not.
Yeah, Mercurio definitely saving big time, especially at this section of the racetrack. The bus stop and then the carousel. That's the part where he is really letting it breathe. And you can see on the left of your screen, the gap now down just around 6 seconds. They are cutting in tremendously, but did Mercurio build himself enough of a buffer that he can save the gas he needs in these next 4 laps, this time by, to make it to the end and stay out in front of these 3?
Mercurio definitely short shifting. I'm on board with him right now, and he's lifting way early, as you were saying, Jacob. Let's take a listen. Out of the corner, you'll see him. There's one of the short shifts there, another one potentially. There it is, to 4th. So short shifting will save you a little bit of fuel. The engine doesn't have to run at a high enough RPM, or higher RPM. You'll see another one here. There's another one to 5th. And lifting way early there. You see the brake markers on the left side of the screen there. You want to lift right in the middle of those, and he's lifting way before them. So definitely in big time save mode, as you said.
He's hardly touching the gas coming through the carousel once he gets out of the chicane.
Oh yeah, another big short shift out of the carousel there for Mercurio. So he is. It might be close. He's lifting earlier, shifting earlier, and that is typically not a sign of someone that's confident they can make it to the end. Keeping it in a higher gear through the corners as well, just so the engine uses less RPM, doesn't burn as much fuel. So we'll see if what Mercurio's doing is enough. 4 to go.
Well, it's 3 to go here at the line as Mercurio heads to turn 1. I know the tickers sometimes slow it at updating. The gap, 5.5 seconds. Back to Logan Helton. Mercurio now lifting and saving in the S's. At least turns 2 and 3. Turn 4, he stays maybe not full throttle, but at least up to speed. And you can see Danson falling back now. I think he's starting to save. Nate Stewart has dropped back. I think he's starting to save. Logan Helton is still pushing it. Helton, I think, is the only one that we think is safe on fuel, at least in the top 5.
Again, you remember that after the pit stops, the gap was about 8 seconds from Helton to Mercurio. Now we're down to just over 5.5 seconds. So it's not over yet, coming to 2 laps to go, but man, Mercurio, if he's able to keep this thing on track and make it on fuel, on fumes even, that's a heck of a way to save here. So 2 laps to go now, Watkins Glen, the lead, 5.5 seconds.
Trying to take notes for the Coke Series race on Tuesday is Brian Mercurio. Two laps to go. The gap still 5 seconds.
It's a little bit of a short
on the
shift.
Season. Looking for his 5th win on the year. Good grief.
2 more times through the carousel for Brian. So you see Danson.
I think Mercurio may have this one in the bag here. Through 6 and 7. Coming to the white flag. You won't see a caution, no overtime today. White flag in the wind, 1 more lap to go for Brian Mercurio. Does he have enough fuel in the tank to make it the 2.5 miles around the racetrack? 1 more. He's trying to pick up his 5th win on the season, which would break the tie as far as most wins this season. He is in his 20th career start, 20th start on the season. That locks him in to the playoffs with his 4 wins. Remember, the minimum has to be 20 starts. This is start number 20, so he could lock himself in. Oh, he gets a little loose coming down. Still doing good. That last time by ran a 109.5. He's not saving anymore.
It doesn't sound like it. I'm listening to his RPMs, and he sounds like he is back to normal on this. Comes out of the bus stop here and the carousel. Got Art Reimer right in front of him. He is pushing this thing, and we think Mercurio, with this performance, is good to go for the win as he makes his way through 6 and 7.
Yeah, he can shut it off and coast it right here, even if he has to wreck Art Reimer in the process. Brian Mercurio picks up win number 5, maybe. Look out! A little controversy at the end, but Mercurio on the gas is going to win at Watkins Glen, and he will make win number 5 happen today. Joining his wins at Auto Club, Darlington, Chicagoland, and Nashville Super Speedway. Give it to the 41, and I'm sure he'll take the notes he learned today, take him right on into the Coke Series races. More drivers racing to the line. Mercurio, he's either got the clutch in all the way, or he is officially out of fuel because it is radio silent coming off turn 4.
There you see this last group of guys getting through here. We got one coasting back here down to the entrance of pit road.
Yeah, Mercurio's out. Mercurio ran it out of fuel just past the start-finish line on the last lap.
Chris Wetz, that's Chris Wetz in the 71. Just, I don't know, looks like he has a lot of right front damage there. Mercurio's requesting a push.
Mercurio's out of fuel.
I'll let Chase Elliott won.
Wetz decided not to brake for turn 6 and just dove off into the kitty litter and then smacked the wall that's out there. So Mercurio, Wyatt Tinsley's upside down, Joe Gagnon style in turn 1.
Wow.
In between the fence and the tires. There's Justin. Pandicio was pushing Hawkins around. Hawkins out of fuel. None of these guys have fuel. Blake Reynolds is out. Frisch still has fuel. Landon Mills still has fuel. Matt Danson made it back to pit road safely, so he saved enough.
Michael Frisch comes up, offers his congratulations to Mercurio. Good buddies there.
Yep. Kevin King, I think, still has some fuel. But Hawkins out. Helton is out. Rosero's out. Pandicio's out. I think Cozy still has some fuel.
The tow trucks are going to be busy here tonight at Watkins Glen.
Robert Dorman's pushing Nate Stewart around. Nate Stewart ran out, I think, right at the start-finish line. Same with Mercurio.
Landon Mills pushes Brian Mercurio, and he will do whatever he's got left to get these donuts in.
Oh, he still does have fuel. He was saving fuel the whole way around, so he could do a burnout.
What a guy. What a show-off. Now he's sputtering now, so I think it's just about out. But nonetheless, what a great call. What a great strategy call by Brian Mercurio. Executed to perfection, saved just enough, and now I think he's out.
Nope, he's still going.
It's sputtering. Now we're out.
Now he's out.
But great job by Brian all race. Started up at the front. Got in some early trouble there. Got in some early trouble with these wrecks here. Started on the pole, finished at the front. And Brian Mercurio, a great win tonight at Watkins Glen.
Run down through our results. Brian Mercurio, the winner. Logan Helton finishes second. Matt Danson finishes third. Nate Stewart fourth. Tyler Gary fifth. Landon Mills finishes sixth. Blake Reynolds finishes seventh. Brandon Hawkins eighth. Michael Rosero finishes ninth. Matthew Zwack finishes in the 10th spot.
And 11th through 20th, Matt Kemp with a good run in that 005. He'll come home 11th. Kevin King 12th. Michael Frisch, after starting last and not even on the grid, will come home in 13th. Jonathan Oates 14th. Alex Kolonix 15th. Michael Cozy Jr. Wyatt Tinsley, Ryan Pandicio, Lucas Plussel, and Isaac Johnson will round out the front 20.
Tough there for Cozy. Remember that speeding penalty is what got him back there. Same thing with Wyatt Tinsley in that 16th and 17th spot. The rest of the grid, all multiple laps down. Art Reimer 21st. He was part of that extracurricular there, coming to the checkered flag in front of Mercurio. Brett Punkari finishes 22nd. Tidwell 23rd. Spencer Ray 5 down in 24th. Robert Dorman 25th. Chris Wetz 9 down in 26th. Gary Waterworth 27th. Big for both of those guys, Waterworth and Wetz. Those are the two guys that are in the last two spots as far as points for the playoffs. Cozy finishes in front of both of them. Be interesting to look at points when we go into Daytona in 2 weeks' time. Scotty Smith 28th, Justin Malillo 29th, Nathan Rabideau 30th, and the rest.
And we'll round out the back half of the field here. Kevin McAdams' tough break was involved in those two wrecks, not of his doing, ended his night early. Nick Miller, again, got intentionally wrecked under caution, so not a good night for him. Caden Rush, Aaron Brown, Kyler Wynn, Tyler Landon, Seth Knoll, Cole Freilich, Philip McCandless, again, got involved in those earlier wrecks, and Ryan Araki will round out the field in this one.
Well, I think there are a couple more back there that...
including the pace car, which doesn't count.
Yep, so it would be Dawes, Margot, Spalding. Those would be the three, and I believe Josh Stoltz. I guess Josh Stoltz actually started.
Those guys didn't grid, so Stoltz, Parsons, Roberts, Newell, Connolly, all of them.
Yep, they did not make the field. That's why. All right. Talk with some folks. Brian Mercurio, race winner. 5th win on the season. How did you have enough fuel to make it?
I don't know. These smaller tanks that we have here in FTF, the normal, feels like every other race at least comes down to fuel mileage. So just kind of knew that with our last caution that we had there that, we got a bunch of consecutive cautions. So I knew I was just going to try to just save whatever I can. And maybe it'll pay off later. Maybe it won't. Always good just to try just in case. And I knew we were going to kind of be in a window for like a 3-stopper. If we just went green, I believe after like around stage 2, we had a caution. And then I think we just had enough cautions. I could save a lot. And I knew that Blake and Hawken, I knew Hawken was going to be off cycle just because he had stayed out a few times. And I know Blake was probably going to be my biggest challenge there. And I saw that earlier in the race. He put a lap before me. So I was just trying to test out how long I could go on fuel. And I kind of figured once we were getting that run in there that I was going to be right on the number there. And I actually had a little more than I needed to at the end, almost an extra lap. But just tried to save a little bit during that run as insurance. I knew I had a big gap. So, yeah.
Do you think any of that you could apply to when the Coke Series comes to town Tuesday?
I think we're going to have a little bit more fuel than we did here tonight. So from what I got, it should be relatively easy on strategy compared to this. Shouldn't really be worrying about fuel or anything. Driving wise and just racing wise, it's always good, especially with some great competition like with Hawken, Helton, Reynolds, Danson, everybody up in the top 5 there. So always racing around those guys is good. You learn a lot. You could try a bunch of different things. That's kind of I don't know if I'm going to call it an advantage, but it's nice to be able to practice some stuff here in FTF a little bit beforehand, see what lines work, how to race each other, how it's going to be, once you get a bunch of cars around each other, how dirty air is going to affect the car. A lot of that stuff carries over regardless of running on a fixed setup or, a super optimized Coke setup. So definitely learned a little bit. Hopefully I can carry some of that momentum into Tuesday, but for now, it's nice to get the win here.
Well, congratulations on the win. As of now, in the playoff standings, you're high atop. You're the lone man with 5 wins on the season. Congratulations. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Daytona.
All right. Going to be going away here with my family for a little bit. So not only FTF is off, but I'll be away here for a little bit. So nice to get away for this for a little bit. Happy to end off for now with a win. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Thanks to all the partners that I've ran with through the Coke season. All the FTF staff for putting on the race. And catch you guys later.
Brian Mercurio, your winner tonight from Watkins Glen. Now, second place finisher Logan Helton with Sean.
Hey, Logan.
Hello.
Hey, so you were fast all night. So, by the way, very good job tonight putting a great run together. Just it seemed like in the early and mid part of the race, you just kind of got caught up and held up behind some of the guys that run different strategies than you towards the end of the race, especially. So just how tough was it to make those passes in traffic, and how was it, to time your passes effectively?
It was horrible. Just dirty air. It killed me. I think dirty air kept me from being close to Brandon there, Mercurio at the end there. I mean, I was just stuck behind so many different people for so long, and I hate being the guy that full sends it and then misses the corner and hits someone, so I didn't do that tonight. And it kind of cost me while I was trying to be all safe and make sure I didn't hit anybody. People behind me that were slower were full sending me and making it work, but I knew if I tried it, I'd probably mess it up. So...
Well, you showed a lot more courtesy than some of the others in this race, that's for sure. But you can't hang your head on a second place finish, man. You're up front the whole time battling. Just came down to strategy. So what were you guys thinking, towards the final pit stop there? Was there an audible call there? Did you guys have that set strategy to pit at that time from the jump?
Well, with that yellow that came out, we pit there because we knew we'd be on a 2-stop strategy and it was going to be close for everybody else. And it worked out pretty much perfectly, except that one guy that saved enough, and it just completely it made me. I was talking to myself during that entire last section of the race, just saying, "There's no way he saved enough. There's no way he saved enough," and he did. So I mean, I gotta congratulate Mercurio, Brandon there, because he was awesome all night long. And I just came second short, and I probably deserved second based on how I drove. But, man, I really wanted that win. I felt like the one win I had this season at Gateway was not gifted, but it wouldn't have happened unless, all that wrecking and everything happened and someone being penalized. So I really wanted to win this one and prove that I earned this one. But, yeah, like you said, you can't be upset with second place, and I got some decent stage points tonight as well.
Yeah, definitely can't be upset with that. But we got a little bit of more of a wild card coming up in Daytona. So what's your strategy for that one?
Well, I'm going to Daytona in real life, so I'm going to watch the boys probably wreck it up the last half of the race. So I'm going to just learn how to miss the wrecks, I think, is the number one strategy there. And just learn how to tell what line is better. I know at Daytona, the high side is better. Well, running the high side is better than running the high side at Talladega is what I'm trying to say. So it's going to be a lot more even, I feel. So it's just going to be very situational, I guess, and no one line is going to be better.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with survival mode there as well in that race. You never know, especially what we saw earlier in the year. But Logan, man, don't feel bad about that second place finish. Very well run race, great drive, and good luck to you next week at Daytona for the finale of this season.
Thank you guys very much. I'd like to thank a couple of people real quick. First off, you guys for putting on the broadcast to FTF GG, and you guys as well for just commentating on it. I'd like to thank everybody in FTF, the drivers, for making it fun. And I got to congratulate again, Brian. I kept saying Brandon Mercurio, didn't I?
He is Brandon Mercurio, so you're fine.
I don't know why I was saying Brandon. Anyways, just congratulations to him, and good racing with Matt there at the end, and Hawken as well. I can't think of everybody. Nexus and Seth for being on the box for me after he had a mishap tonight. But that's all I have.
Well, there you have it, guys. Logan Helton P2 tonight. Back to you, Jacob. And I think we're going to catch up with our third place finisher, Matt Danson.
Matt Danson officially hit the start requirement that if he wins, he'd be able to get a spot in the playoffs. I really thought tonight was going to be the night that you just ended it all right here and put yourself into the playoffs. I thought maybe you had enough fuel to make it to the end. Take us through your night.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get it too, and now I might have to end it all. No, actually. If people, make sure you talk to. If you need help, talk to people. I was. I honestly thought. Well, I didn't realize Mercurio was going to make it, so that really screwed all my plans. But yeah, it was looking good for a while. I choked the second last stop. I took less fuel than I needed to accidentally, and had to stay in the box a bit longer to get the required fuel. So that added like four and a bit seconds. Because I was well ahead of Logan and all that, and then he obviously came out behind them, had to chase them down. Shout out Logan Helton as well. Like we had a great tussle, and it was super clean. He could have set me off the track a couple of times, and he didn't. If I had $1 for every time Nate Stewart is in the way, goddamn, like, he's just a moving chicane. That guy, I couldn't. He was just right there. But no, it was a lot of fun. I thought this was the last race before the chase for the cup, but it is not. It's Daytona, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to win that race though, so that's fine. So then I'll just be a supporting cast member for Cozy and his bid to win. I mean, if I could win next time out, that'd be cool. But I have no idea what I'm doing on super speedways, so I'm probably going to wreck the field more likely.
Now, Cozy is also, for now, at least on the outside looking in. The point margin going to be a lot closer going into that finale at Daytona. If it comes down to the two of you at the end of this deal at Daytona,
wreck him.
I was going to say, what's your game plan? Are you just going to let Cozy have that last spot, or are you going to try and race it out with him?
I am a notoriously great guy, so I don't know. I also would be really nervous that I don't know what I'm doing and be more prepared to just push. Maybe wreck him across the line. What's the rules on that? But if he gets P2 and I win, then surely he makes it.
Well, it depends on the guys around him. He is 17th right now, 85 out. And now the two guys in front of him finished pretty deep in the field tonight. Now, the speeding penalty that Cozy had didn't necessarily help. I think Cozy only finished 16th. With the stage points and everything, it might be a little bit closer, the gap, but he is still on the outside looking in. You winning would pretty much destroy him because there's a 300-point gap to the guy that's in 15th compared to Cozy.
Wow. Yeah, so it's all on the line. Well, he's actually coming down here to Upside Down Land in a couple of months, and he's getting free accommodation courtesy of me. So surely logic says that this is something where I should take rather than give. You know what I mean? So maybe I punt him. We'll see.
I love it. Matt Danson, thanks for your time. Congratulations on the top 3, and best of luck when we go to Daytona.
Appreciate you. Bye.
That's Matt Danson.
Upside Down Land.
Upside. When he started saying that, I'm like, what? Is he going to Daytona? What? Okay, got it. Makes sense. Well, that was a race.
That was an event that occurred, yes. A lot of attrition, chaos, wrecks, drama, strategy. Like I said, that race had it all. Entertaining to watch. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it as well. And Daytona shouldn't be much more different, especially with the championship implications. So I'm excited to participate in that one.
It'll be exciting, no doubt about it. We're back in 2 weeks' time, 8 o'clock Eastern, Sunday, August 28th, from Daytona, the regular season finale. In the meantime, next thing on FTF.GG, the Esports Racing League on Wednesday, 7:30 from the Nashville Fairgrounds, and the eNASCAR Qualifying iRacing Series, Thursday night at 9 o'clock from Lucas Oil Raceway. For Zach Johnson, our producer, everybody at FTF, for Sean Butler alongside me, I'm Jacob Pitts. Thanks for watching. It's Brian Mercurio, your winner at Watkins Glen.